that the cost on these premiums really shot up after the Biden COVID credits went into law, and as the premiums go up, taxpayers are on the hook to subsidize the insurance companies. Remember, the payment goes to them, not to the individual. It goes directly to the insurance company. The agent can enroll you even if you don't know you're enrolled, because they've got your name, address, phone number, contact information. Republicans have already started to address the root causes of this escalation. We've secured measures in the big, beautiful bill that prevent illegal aliens from receiving subsidies under Obamacare. We prevent them from getting Medicaid services also. It also requires individuals who misstate their income to repay the excess subsidy that they got. That seems fair. If you lied about it on your form and it shows up when it's verified, you're not going to get off with a slap on the hand. You got to repay. You've got to pay. Because if you're cheating, it means somebody else is going to be paying that difference. So requiring applicants to verify their income, their family size, their immigration status, and their residence before enrolling ensures that you're not going to have people abusing the system and ripping off hard-working taxpayers. Now, Mr. President, that is common sense. Our Democrat colleagues should be working with us to implement more integrity measures to ensure that these taxpayer-funded benefits only go to the people who deserve them. Republicans want to tackle the rising premium costs because this is too expensive to afford. They want to drive down the cost of prescription drugs by holding pharmacy benefit managers, PBMs, accountable. We want to streamline the process for prompt payment of claims, put a shot clock on these insurance companies, make certain they're paying your local doctor, and maintain the fiscal solvency of the Medicare program. We want to see health care freedom. People want to make certain that we've got choice and options, that you're not mandated into a program you don't want that covers things you don't need. How about health savings accounts? How about association health plans? How about a cross-state line purchase of health insurance? So when you get a health insurance product you like, you can keep it. When you get a doctor you like, you can keep him. When you get a payment price you like, you can keep that and make it. Well, we would love to be addressing these issues, but our Democrat colleagues have decided they want to keep going with a government shutdown and hold the government hostage so they can appease their left-wing base. It's time for them to end the theatrics and come to the table and get back to work. I yield the floor.
Senator from Iowa.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent to use a prop during my remarks.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, legend has it that the halls of the Capitol are haunted by a demon cat. If you look closely, paw prints left behind by this stray spirit can be spotted outside the entrance of the old Supreme Court chamber. From poltergeists to apparitions of Abraham Lincoln and other dead presidents, Washington has a long history of ghost stories. The city itself was transformed into a ghost town when government workers disappeared from their desks as a result of President Biden's lax telework policies. For years, most agency headquarters were left with just a skeleton crew. Even after the bureaucrats were called back to work by President Trump, before being furloughed by the government shutdown, the buildings remained largely empty. Thousands of other government buildings are completely vacant. Thousands are uninhabited by a single soul in Washington, D.C. Deserted and left in a state of disrepair for years, many properties have been condemned to a fate worse than death. One was described as a roach-infested mold dungeon. Bugs were spotted crawling out of faucets and creeping across the floors of another. While some have been described as cold, gray eyesores, others are literally death traps. The drinking water in many sat stagnant for so long that it turned into a deadly potion of toxic metals and biohazards. Renovations and upgrades to make the horrifying offices habitable again would cost the taxpayers, and prepare yourself for a jump scare, $370 billion. Yes, folks, that's billion with a B. I just don't know what possesses Washington to hold onto decaying properties. Meanwhile, around the country, other old haunts are returning from beyond the grave. But there's no reason to fear this zombie apocalypse. It's that time of year when boarded up businesses come back to life as Spirit Halloween stores. It's almost spooky how fast these Halloween stores pop up, transforming the remains of abandoned buildings into a billion-dollar business. Spirit Halloween's successful body-snatching business model scares up a great idea for reviving the government's graveyard of lifeless real estate. Let's sell off these haunted houses to businesses who can breathe new life into them. That trick would be a real treat for the taxpayers because it would both reduce costs and bring in billions of dollars from monstrous sales. It's an idea only a zombie wouldn't like, since it's such a no-brainer. My Disposal Act would fast-track the sale of unused, unneeded, and underutilized government properties. Congress should embrace the Halloween spirit by passing this bill and let the unfurling of Spirit Halloween banners begin. Many of the properties that would be put on the market by my bill are in prime locations, so potential buyers should be prepared to act quickly before these once-in-a-lifetime sales vanish like a ghost. The real monster this bill is designed to slay, however, is one that has been lurking around Washington for way too long: our national debt, which now exceeds $38 trillion. That amount should scare us all into taking action. And with that, Mr. President, I yield the floor. I would note the absence of a quorum.
Clerk, call the roll.
Ms. Alster-Brooks.
safety staff face financial strain as crisis deepens. Largest federal workers union calls for clean bill to end shutdown. Those, Mr. President, are just a sampling of the headlines out there, and they represent the consequences as the Democrat shutdown accelerates. So when will the Democrats put an end to this, Mr. President? When the economy is in ruins? When federal workers have lost their homes? When housing assistance and small business loans and Head Start and National Guard training are distant memories? I hope the pain of the American people is worth the plaudits the Democrats are getting from their liberal base. Mr. President, I don't know if listing out the consequences of Democrat shutdown moves any Democrats anymore. I really don't. In fact, more than one member of their party, way more than one member of their party, has described using the pain of the American people as leverage. I'll give you an example of some of the things that they've been saying. Starting with the Democrat leader, every day gets better for us. The whip, the number 2 position among House Democrats, says there will be families that are going to suffer, but it was one of the few times, or the few leverage times that we have. Senator from New Mexico, paying our troops gives the president more leverage. That's a really good reason not to pay the troops, right? Senator from Arizona asked about it, said, hey, I just go back and shut it down again. Senator from Delaware, frankly, this is our only moment of leverage, and although a very pleasant tool to use, very unpleasant tool to use. Yeah, it's unpleasant, all right, if you're a worker who's lost their jobs not getting paid. And of course, the senator from Vermont, you reopen the government, we lose our leverage. It's all about leverage. That's what they're making it all about, leverage. So the question is, when are American people going to matter more than their leverage, Mr. President? If there are any Democrats out there who can still see beyond the demands of their far-left base, if there are any Democrats who care about the damage that this shutdown is doing, then I have a bill right there at the desk. A clean, nonpartisan continuing resolution to fund WIC, SNAP, troop pay, air traffic controller pay, farm programs, housing assistance, our national defense, and every single other government priority. We just need 5 Democrats to show some courage and join the 3 Democrats who are already with us, and we can get this government open. That's all it takes, Mr. President. Everybody knows that in the Senate it takes 60 votes to do anything. And Democrats come down here and consistently say, well, the Republicans have control of the Senate, the House, the White House. And the Republicans in the House, the Senate, and the White House are all agreed. Open up the government. But you can't do that in the Senate unless you have 60 votes, meaning we have to have a few Democrats. We have a few already. We need 5 Democrats with a backbone. 5 Democrats with the courage to take on that far-left base and say we care more about the lives of the American people than about gaining some political leverage. This takes 5, Mr. President. Enough is enough. I urge my Democrat colleagues to agree to reopen the federal government and to do it today. Mr. President, I yield the floor, and I suggest the absence of a quorum.
Ms. Alsobrooks.